Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be color drenching this entire bedroom in black. We're using the color Tricorn Black by Sherwin-Williams. I have never color drenched a room before, but I love the way that they make a room look and feel. I feel like it elevates the space, makes it feel very designer. I'm definitely eager to give it a try, so let's get right into it. First things first, I'm gonna change into some frumpy painting clothes. And now we're ready to prep the space and actually start putting paint on the walls. The room is prepped and ready for painting. I wiped down the trim around the bottom of the room and I added this contractor paper around with some green frog tape advanced. So I'm really hoping this helps to keep from any bleeding, especially onto the hardwoods. I do not want to get any paint on those. The room is prepped and ready, at least for the parts that I'm going to start with. I'm actually going to start with doing the trim, and we're going to be using a satin finish in that Tricorn Black color. From my research, it says that you should do a flat or a matte finish on the walls and the ceiling, and then a satin finish on the trim and around the doors and windows. So let's get started with the trim. All right, I am finally preparing mentally and physically to paint the windows. So I took the blinds off and I'm getting ready to give the windows a nice good cleaning, wipe it all down. And then I'm actually gonna use this product here, Mask and Peel Liquid Masking Tape and Primer. I'm gonna apply this onto the glass so that I can just kind of paint freely all over the wood parts without having to worry too much about taping it off and getting any paint onto the glass itself. I've seen videos of people using this and it looks like it works pretty well. So I am hoping that it makes this process much easier and simple. I'm gonna get it all cleaned, apply the mask and peel, and then get ready to paint it. So let's go. I have all of the window panes covered in the mask and peel, and it says to wait until it is clear before you start painting. So I'm gonna give it plenty of time to dry before I start painting, but I am gonna go ahead and get the lock taken out so I can just kind of start painting freely. And we are gonna be using the satin finish on the windows as well. All right, I think it's been enough time. This is looking pretty clear to me and it's feeling fairly dry, but I am still gonna just start with the kind of outer parts of the window, and then we will move inward to these parts, and fingers crossed that this goes well. Quick update on where we are with everything. I've got all the trim painted, all of the windows and door frames as well. Full transparency, I gave everything 3 coats of the paint just because I might not have been putting enough on those first few coats. So I really wanted to make sure we got nice, good, full coverage on everything. So 3 coats of the paint on the trim everywhere. And now I am ready to start painting the walls. I did go ahead and do some more of that green frog tape along the bottom trim. I don't know if that's totally necessary, but I really want this to be as crisp and clean and professional looking of a job as possible. So I added the frog tape just to limit the amount of bleeding of the matte paint onto the satin finish. I just want everything to have a nice, good, clean look to it. So that part might not be totally necessary, but I wanted to do it anyway. So we are about to get started adding paint to the walls finally. I'm gonna start with kind of going around the trim and the edges of the walls, and then I'll go in with a roller. Then we'll move on to the ceiling. All right, it is now or never. It's time to finally start putting some paint on the walls. I've got the big boy roller here and I'm ready to do this. So let's see how this goes. I'm a little nervous. Okay, it's happening. It is happening. I'm gonna try to keep the roller as full of paint as possible. I'm gonna work in vertical sections here and then slightly overlap as I work my way across. Okay, so the technique of keeping the brush full of paint is definitely working. I mean, I feel like I'm getting much better coverage than I normally would. So learned something new there. Maybe I won't need as many coats. It's really covering that whole vertical section fairly well. I'm not having to put a ton of pressure into the rolls either. So we're gonna probably use a lot of this paint. We'll see. All right, checking in with a quick update. So I've got 2 walls covered in paint at this point. They're definitely gonna need at least one more coat, but I feel like the technique I was using of keeping the roller really full of paint definitely helped. And there's probably a better way or order of doing all these things, but this way is working for me. So now I'm gonna get started on the remaining 2 walls, and then I think we will finally be ready to start with the ceiling. So piece by piece, little by little, we are making some progress. Let's get started on these next 2 walls. Things are shaping up. Things are looking good so far. I think I'm gonna go ahead and try to get at least 1 layer of paint on the ceiling before I lose daylight here. We are really gonna start putting paint on the ceiling. I gotta get this light fixture removed first, and then we're gonna go for it. Again, as always, fingers crossed. Lord, I'm scared. Okay. Oh Lord, come on. It's happening. Okay, it's really happening. Okay, first stripe down, and it's going fairly well. I am running low on paint, so I'm starting to get worried that I might not be able to do 1 whole coat on the ceiling, but we're just gonna keep going until we run out of paint. Hello everybody, it is now Thursday, and just for reference, I started this project on Monday. It's now Thursday. I ran out of the matte paint yesterday. I got a whole nother gallon this morning because I do still have to finish 1 wall, and then we're gonna go back and do another coat everywhere, and hopefully that will do the trick. So I am refreshed, renewed, and ready to get back into it. So I'm gonna get changed into my painting clothes, and we're gonna finish up this job today. Let's go. All right, now that we've finished this wall, everything has paint on it at this point. So while that dries, I'm gonna start going back around and doing the edges a second coat, and then we're gonna paint the walls a second time. And hopefully that will be all we need, is just 2 coats. And then of course, the ceiling as well. So yesterday I went this way, I guess kind of the longer way of the room, but today I'm gonna go this shorter route just to see if that can minimize any streakage, or like, you know, you can kind of see the lines where I took the roller. So hoping to avoid that by going the other direction. Here we go. finally done with painting this room. This ended up being a little more involved than I thought it would be. Honestly, it took me several days just because I guess maybe I was moving very slowly and I was being very meticulous about how I wanted to go about doing it. There were some learning curves along the way. I learned a few things as I went that probably slowed me down as well, but we finally got it done. I'm about to peel up all of the frog tape and all of the contractor paper covering the floor so that we can really see what it's looking like. And I also need to peel off the film from the windows. So let's do that real quick. Alright y'all, it has probably been about a week since I officially finished painting that room, and I really love how it turned out. I personally love the dark, moody, all black moment, but I'm curious to know what other people's opinion of it is, so let me know what you think of the all black color drenching in that room. I also wanted to pop back in at the end of this video after the fact to kind of recap how the process went and some lessons that I learned along the way. So this ended up taking me a lot longer than I anticipated. If you're an experienced painter, or if you have just painted a room before and you know how it goes, then you probably noticed a few of my errors along the way. First of which was how I was cutting in, as they call it, or going around the trim and the edges. I was doing that, basically like framing each wall and then letting it dry, which apparently you're supposed to work with it while it's still wet, which is very challenging. I didn't know how that was possible, but as I progressed with each coat, I tried to work really fast and do the like outlines and the trim and then go back in with the roller so that it all kind of looked cohesive and it didn't look like multiple layers just all on top of each other. Another major error that I learned when I went in for the second coat rolling was you really have to have a consistent pattern of how you're applying the paint to the wall, of how much paint is on the roll, which direction the roller is faced. So after I seriously messed up that second coat, I did some research, watched a few videos, and learned how to properly go back in and add another coat so that it didn't look very streaky and it didn't look like all these roller lines everywhere and very patchy, which is how it looked after the second coat. I just didn't fully show that in the video. That's another reason why this process took quite some time, because I had to get a 1/3 gallon of paint just so I could go back all the way through and give everything one solid coat to make it look nice and smooth. So I feel like I did a good job of applying the paint on the first coat, so I was like, oh, this is gonna be easy. Let me just go back in on the second coat and cover up any of the splotchiness and the streaks. So I was just rolling up and down everywhere. But come to find out, you have to like just roll down, roll down, roll down, and you always want to finish going down. You want to overlap halfway on the last column that you did and just kind of always be working towards one direction. There's a whole science behind it, which I am thankful that I actually looked up some videos on how to fix it, because the finished product is very nice, very smooth. I'm very happy with how it all turned out. I wish it wouldn't have taken so long, but it was a labor of love and I do really enjoy how it turned out. Let me know what y'all thought of this video. Let me know what other questions or concerns y'all had as y'all were watching me paint this room. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please leave a comment down below, and before you head out, please make sure to hit that subscribe subscribe button. I'm looking forward to sharing some more projects around our new home, so I would love to have you join me. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.